My name is Mike Vaughn. I'm a board-certified civil trial attorney in Norden, Leacox. I was born in Central Florida. I grew up in the area playing baseball and surfing, lots of surfing. I surfed all up and down the coast, mainly in the local area here though. So right after high school, I started working high-rise construction in New Smyrna Beach. I had moved there and it was labor intensive. I think I made $4.25 an hour. And all I did was lug stuff from one floor to the next floor, and then the next floor up. And I'd see the Coast Guard boats. I'd see them go out the inlet, and it looked like they were having a little bit more fun than I was. And then I'd see the guys at the inlet surfing after work, and I got to talking to them, and they were a pretty good lot. And I decided that being in the Coast Guard as a young 18-year-old was probably a better direction for me than the labor-intensive stuff that I was doing. When I first joined the Coast Guard, I went to boot camp. Then I was stationed in Puerto Rico. I was doing counter-drug enforcement. I was on boarding teams. We did search and rescue. Coast Guard deploys worldwide. We've been in every major war since we were founded in 1790. We do port security, we do national defense, law enforcement, search and rescue, enforcement of laws and treaties, regulations regarding shipping. It's a small service. There's about 40,000 total folks in the Coast Guard. I had ended my enlistment and I decided at some point to go to law school. And when I was about to graduate in law school, 9/11 happened. And so I felt an obligation to go back. And now that I was an attorney, I was able to go back into the Coast Guard as a Coast Guard attorney and regular officer. A judge advocate is essentially a military lawyer. It's a uniformed military lawyer, and as JAGs, we're responsible for an array of legal issues, operational, military justice, command advice, the list goes on. And when you're providing that legal advice, you're providing it to generally the commanders on the ground. Well, I did prosecute. I was what we call a trial counsel. That's a military prosecutor. You might remember the Kevin Bacon role in A Few Good Men. I don't know if military pilots quote lines from Top Gun, but military lawyers constantly quote lines from A Few Good Men. Well, I always wanted to be a personal injury attorney, and I had the opportunity to choose to go into the Coast Guard Reserve and finish my career while I was able to go on the outside, so to speak, and start practicing personal injury law. Loved growing up listening to music and surfing. A lot of our music came from surfing soundtracks. I remember the first time I heard Pennywise mixed up with a surfing soundtrack. I was like, this is it. We got a lot of our music that wasn't necessarily mainstream from surf videos. When I was young, it was the 80s, and I listened to everything from AC/DC to Fugazi. And I realized that hard guitar-driven music was what I really liked. Just escaping into the power that comes out of metal. I went to so many concerts in Central Florida, a lot of them in the Lakeland Civic Center, because that was the biggest place back in the day. I've been listening and loving music and going to live shows my whole life. My mom owned a taxes and accounting business, and my dad was a journalist and is now an artist. They both inspired me a lot. My mom gave me my logical side, my thinking side. My dad gave me my creative side. And as a trial attorney, that's where I think I excel, in the courtroom, because I'm able to follow procedure and structure, but at the same time, I'm able to think on my feet and think creative. I want to help people. I like helping people. When I got into the Coast Guard, I quickly realized what service to others is about. And in the course of practicing law, I've also learned that personal injury attorneys can affect and help people on a day-to-day basis. We can change lives.